everybody, I'm Zach Joyner. This is the Spideydude Experience, and this is episode 3. We are recording this, and so, again, welcome if this is your first time watching our show. Well, welcome if you're listening to the show for the first time, picking it up with episode 3. Hopefully you go back and listen to the last few episodes to kind of get to know us, but we've got a great panel here today. That's right, we got a panel. And that's everybody, but we're going to start with, we'll introduce Paul first. Paul?
Oh, why me? All right. Hi. How you guys doing?
Poor Paul. He's been having audio issues today, so...
Do I sound like crap still?
Yeah, but that's okay. We're recording, so it's fine.
Okay.
But...
I'm sorry.
Welcome back to Paul. Paul's been a couple episodes since Paul's been on, or been an episode since Paul's been on. Next up, we got Adam Schingle. Welcome back, Adam.
Hi.
He's just doing the peace sign. Yeah, for our audio
Peace
listeners.
and love.
For our audio
Ringo Starr now.
Go to you kind of have the Ringo Starr glasses though, so it kind of fits. You've gotten a haircut, haven't you?
No, not really. It's just growing out a bit.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a haircut. Anyway, moving on.
Hi.
Kelly. Yeah, Kelly, aka Make My Mayday.
Hashtag Make My Mayday.
And yes, don't forget to use the hashtag. All right. Next up is, or finally, to round it out, Neil.
Why is Neil on mute? And why did he also start wearing glasses?
Our glasses. It says Clark Kent.
Glasses gang.
Also, I'm in this white void.
Hold on.
I'm gonna call it purgatory.
Oh, so you're John Oliver part 2.
Hold on.
Yeah.
All right. I too have put on some glasses.
Whoa, 70s.
But Kelly, these are prescription. I need these.
Why weren't you wearing them more?
Okay, I'm the only one not wearing glasses, and the only reason I'm not is because I have my contacts in. So I
that's what. I have my contacts in. I can't wear my glasses, then I would be blind.
Exactly.
Which
is the opposite of what you're supposed to have. All right.
The only reason I haven't wearing them is because my eyes hurt.
Oh yeah.
So
don't do that.
Anyway, today we are covering ASM numbers 812 through 816. So 11 through 15 if you're using the standard numbering. Really excited to cover this one. So I want to... Where's my screen?
Yeah, my eyes are hurting. Okay.
Ah, well.
Aw.
Poor Neil. His eyes are hurting. All
Everything hurts. This is just...
Poor guy. Is it sinus, homie?
What was that, Paul?
Is it sinuses?
I don't know.
It's
Might
probably it's probably just 2020.
It's one of
Like
those
there is.
weeks.
It's probably it's a 2020 headache.
Yes.
2020-itis.
Yes.
I'm gonna lie down back here while y'all talk about Spider-Man.
It's fine. I actually while Zach talks about the recap,
Yes.
I'm going to get a pupper.
Pupper.
Who is very, very upset. So if Pupper shows up,
All right, good night, guys.
there's that. All right, night, Neil. Night, Neil. Have a nice nap.
Yeah. So
Oh my
that makes
God.
me feel really special that he's going to take a nap while I'm doing the recap. Like,
Wow.
I feel safe. I feel safe.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Tell him the bedtime story.
Tell me the bedtime story. Tell me the ballad of J. Jonah Jameson.
Right. Yeah.
get to work,
Dang.
J. Jonah Jameson. Oh, good Lord. I have the freaking overlay on. And
I love this story. Wow.
all right. I got the overlay. So there we go. It's issue 11. Get to work. And so, all right. We're going to.
Otley's back. Yay.
Otley is back.
Yay.
Yay! For more on that, listen to our last episode. So we open up. It's called Lifetime Achievement Part 1 is the first part. We open up. It's Christmas time in New York, that is. And you have all the sights and sounds from Rockefeller Center to Santa Claus and the toy shops. And then you have a giant splash page where a man is yelling, calling somebody a nincompoop. Oh, yeah. Yep. And that person, in fact, is that Spider-Man's a hero. or my name's not J. Jonah Jameson. Yes,
Wow, what a twist!
Dun dun.
yeah. So for those that don't know, we get a brief montage recap that of Peter talking about the former publisher of the Daily Bugle and Peter's old arch nemesis of sorts. That's right. He then revealed his secret. Peter revealed his secret identity to him over dinner. But if you've been following along in Spider-Man's history, this is the second time that Jonah has had the identity been revealed.
He took it much better. He took it much better this time, to be honest.
This time was much better taken than the last time. Well, I'll have a story on that for those that don't know. So, Jonah's talking with this caller. He's very, very angry. And, he's like, I was born for this job. Yes, he was, in fact, born for talk radio. So his producer comes in and gives him an invitation to a banquet. And Jonah's like, he's a criminal. But then Jonah's like, got the little angel and the devil on each side of himself because, like, Fisk is using this for his own means. Let's face it. We then cut to Hippo Man, or Hippo, like Hippo person.
I think it's just the hippo.
Yeah,
The
hippo,
hippo.
I think.
All right, it is the hippo. Going for the this year's hot toy, which is a Galactus. Galactus hungers for friendship because Galactus suspiciously sounds like Elmo.
I will say this real quick before I love Spencer's like weird love of giving like these terrifying Marvel presences like Galactus, like these cute, lovable, like he's a weird play on consumerism. We're like, we don't celebrate terror groups, but I guess we celebrate Galactus.
Right.
Exactly. So, needless to say, this is like Jingle All the Way, that fantastic film from the 90s. And
it's a timeless tale, really.
It is a timeless tale of consumerism since the 1980s. It really is.
Yeah.
So basically, Pete, apprehends the hippo, gets the Galactus doll, gives it to a kid. The kid goes, "We'll start the bidding at 200. Do I hear 250? 250." Like,
and granted, that kid's got a good racket going because everyone's going at it.
Oh yeah.
So then we cut to some people that still get it, still get the holiday season. In fact, it is Robbie Robinson. Yay, Robbie. So Robbie has invited Peter over because Martha's out of town. And we then get the first hint of a mysterious girlfriend that Randy's, going around. So a brief exchange between Robbie and Peter is like, "Oh, come on, I told you. There's more to that story. I believe you, even if nobody else does."
Wink.
I wonder why.
Real quick, I want to say here, when they tease the mystery girlfriend, I called this half a year in advance.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I have to ask you. How did you predict this? Because she's not even in the story yet.
Because Spencer likes using the character.
He loves the character.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's
and
fair.
Also the history between their fathers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Because Tombstone. Yeah. Okay, got you.
Whoops.
Spoilers. All right. Anyway, if you're listening to this show, you already either you're reading
We're
along
recapping
or
the whole
you're-
for 2 years, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we're also
I
going
know,
off the rails, I have a pupper in my
Ooh,
video
shut
now.
Hi, puppy.
Aw,
There is Luna.
you.
That
It's
is
a good
Luna.
dog.
Hi.
Aw.
It is the dog I am dog sitting for tonight for my roommate.
Aw.
Look at that
Nice.
nose.
Oh, he's nice.
Such a pretty pup.
I
Alright,
like, but you notice now because she was like nonstop fussing. I
She's
bring
like
her
a-
down here and now she's fine.
Yep.
Although I
As
can't stop petting her. That's
Yeah. There.
Don't you dare stop petting. It's a hard luck life if you've got to just stop petting the dog. Anyway, we then cut to Arcade Industries talking to a mysterious person, which we don't know. It's all in shadow.
I'm gonna blow up Metal's head.
But they're good. Yeah. So Jonah's like, he's real happy. And he's like, J. Jonah Jameson's back. And then we get the classic Peter hanging upside down image from Ryan Otley. And like Jonah's reflex in this is like, Spider-Man, why are you? Oh, wait.
I love it. He goes, "Oh right, it's a force of habit. Sorry."
Yeah, it's just like his instant reaction as soon as he sees that red, blue, and black. It's like, oh, why are you? Because come on, let's face it, Jonah's gonna get webbed to a chair at some point in the past. So they then kind of walk off and kind of talk to each other, and Jonah's like trying to convince Spider-Man to come in and do this, and Pete's like, dude, I don't even like the Kingpin. I don't know why anybody.
This part coming up is one of my favorite visual gags that
it's a great one.
that Otley and Spencer have ever done.
Yeah, so we have this little visual gag of like you see Kingpin, and then you like zoom out, and it's Kingpin with his arm around Spider-Man with a thumbs up, and then he's like, "I love Fisk."
Real
Peter's only reaction is that's Photoshop.
Yeah, I read it as that's Photoshop.
Yeah. So Jameson's like, I walk alone. If I'm gonna have to do this, I don't want to have your help. Well, then apparently he's not gonna walk at all because the enforcers show up. Yay!
Deep cut, not really, but
yeah. Well, I mean,
for current ASM, this is a deep cut.
Yeah, they're not used that much.
So
anymore.
we have the enforcers
back in
who start
Friday.
fighting with one another. At one point, Peter goes in and saves Jonah from the enforcers until becomes a certain point where I don't know if is that Fancy Dan.
I think it's
the tattoos. With the tattoos and shades, that's Fancy Dan.
Yeah, so Fancy Dan then pulls his gun out. Ox grabs, Peter jumps in the way. Ox sits there and does his best Hulk impression from the Avengers, where he just smashes Peter.
Yeah, damn.
And,
or Kingpin Into the Spider-Verse.
True story. So, boss wants him alive for the next pot. So, Peter comes to, and Jonah's there, and then all of a sudden we hear this disembodied voice say, "J. Jonah Jameson, this is your story to be continued." And in the background we have the Scorpion in his classic costume. We have a bunch of flies, human flies, and we have the original Spider Slayer from Amazing Spider-Man 25.
Oh yeah,
with a big man in question mark in the little bubble at the top. So that leads us to issue number 813, which is the next issue. Got a great cover.
Should point out that this came out at the time Stan Lee passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to talk about this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. So, sharing my screen right quick. We got this banner, Stan Lee, 1922, 1918.
2018.
Yeah, 2018.
1907.
Yeah. So we have this great cover by Ryan Otley, where the trade dress has been very much more subtle than it was in the past. So stop sharing screen. Nevertheless, we cut to. Oh, hang on, click the wrong button. All right. So after the brief memorial to Stan Lee, we have Amazing Spider-Man Lifetime Achievement. Ryan Otley, Nick Spencer, same team as last time. We cut right where we left off, where seconds after we left off, where Peter and Jonah are running for their ever-loving lives. We cut back to the dinner at the Century Club, which that's a deep cut if you know what that's all about. So
right, yeah,
right.
Ooh, deep cut.
So, Mayor Finn,
really quick. Is that where Green Goblin and Human Torch were in the early years with Ditko?
Yeah, that was the country club that Jonah used to be at, and you've seen it throughout the history. There's a prominent scene during the Clone Saga towards the very end, and Spider-Man Unlimited issue, the last one before Revelations, where you see that's where we first see Roderick Kingsley come back, and all these characters that were part of the Century Club. So yeah, definitely, it was also prominent in the '80s with the Stern run.
Right.
So
okay.
Wasn't this? Am I thinking of a different one? Am I thinking of the Gentleman's Club was it in ASM 797?
Gentleman's Club?
That
The,
was,
the one that he was being held hostage in.
That might be it. Well, actually, no,
Hang on, let me go back and look. Never mind. We'll just
that was
assume this is a
because
different
like maybe I think that was supposed to be, or that was at least supposed to be. I think the club that Norman was a member of, like in the Ditko run, but you didn't really. You saw him like a little bit in the background, and then
that he was a member of the Century Club because that's where Jonah and Norman really hung out a lot. So, nevertheless, we have Fisk being told, "Hey, this ceremony was supposed to begin an hour ago." It's like, we will wait. There's no way this fool avoids the spotlight like this one, like a moth to a flame. And when he arrives, that web cretin won't dare risk his newfound allegiance with his greatest enemy. It'll be a wonderful photo op, won't it? Jameson, Spider-Man, me, arms around each other for the whole world to see, including all of the wall crawlers' vigilante friends. So yes, these people will wait. But can we at least serve the chicken? No, they will make do with the salad bar. When the kingpin goes vegan, the whole city goes vegan.
Okay, it's funny, but that also was not very kingpin-ish to me. Like he'd go vegan, whatever. I don't know.
Everyone else has to do what I do.
You know what? No, I thoroughly enjoy the idea of Kingpin going vegan for a day, especially because like
for a day,
2 years ago, yeah, for a day.
Just to be petty. Bye, Kelly.
Hi, bye.
I clicked on the wrong
Bye,
button.
Kelly.
Hi.
Dog.
I am sitting very weird, so the dog is comfortable. But the no, like, because too, I think that was also a joke because like at the time, Beyonce and Jay-Z had said that they were like super vegan too.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that was a play on that because of course Wilson Fisk would do whatever Beyonce said.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, being mayor, he maybe has to keep because I just don't see the kingpin being a vegan at all. But that's just me.
Yeah,
I
for
get it.
being vegan for a day, just
For
to
a day,
make-
yeah. I took it as he was vegan like forever. So
I mean, he could be like we don't know what his what he's decided.
Maybe he's like, instead of just he's like, I'm just going to find alternative sources of protein to maintain my body mass. I don't know.
Right.
It's New York's news health program. Everyone goes vegan because the Kingpin's doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
There
Which
you
is
go.
something that I'm going to avoid making the joke about the current mayor of New York. But nevertheless, we have a recap with Jameson, yelling into the microphone and kind of the brief recap page that has become so synonymous with this run. Because remember, every issue is somebody's first, which leads us to whatever here is. And then we get this giant spotlight, basically where it's J. Jonah Jameson, this is your life. Talking about being a young boy that was abandoned by his biological father. His uncle raised him, and it was not a very good home. It was a tough home, but he found his outlet, which was journalism. J. Jonah Jameson Jr., which nobody ever knew about the junior part until much after, but that's okay. Retroactive continuity. So, like, Jonah's like, man, I like this. And so one of the best, like, memeable panels of Peter is that it's a museum of Jonah. It's my worst nightmare.
I wanted to remove the dialogue box and just like have it like as a reaction image.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great one actually.
It is a really great reaction.
Oh my god, so much hair. Sorry.
Out of context, nobody's anyway.
Out
So
of
remember,
context, Kelly clips.
remember, listeners, there's a dog right next to Kelly. So we got to.
The dog's like, who, me?
We cut back to our mysterious man in silhouette talking with Arcade, and he talks about that he needs to put on his suit. So, like, context clues would lead to you think maybe this is in fact Gargan. This took place a little bit ago, and so Peter's like, you realize this is a
quickly.
Yeah.
I have to say, I hate Arcade. Arcade, I think, is the worst Marvel villain ever.
Well, this is for in fairness, Arcade went through a really bad.
He's been bad, Neil. Always. He's never been good.
Well, no, but I'm talking about like even like you could tolerate him, but like after Avengers Arena, where he where he had basically the Hunger Games of the Marvel universe, and killed off a lot of beloved characters. and then he had an absolute. But after that, he never really bounced back until this run.
Yeah. Well, see, sorry.
Because his last appearance before this, I think, was Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat.
Here's the thing. Arcade, I remember, for those who are my age, I'm 38. I read Excalibur when it was coming out with Chris Claremont, that stuff. And Alan Davis. And that was like the first that he did. And Arcade was part of it. And he also had I read some X-Men prints with Dr. Doomcade. And I just hate Arcade. I just think he's terrible. I'm sorry. And if seriously we could kill him off forever, I'd be stoked because I think he's worthless.
All right,
Damn.
We'll talk more about that in a couple minutes because.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I know we're not with Arcade yet, but I just want to say it for the record.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Really,
I mean, to both, but no, she
No,
started
right,
whining
right.
as I was putting my hand away. I was
Oh.
really?
So, needless to say, we then cut over to we're still going through "This Is Your Life," Jonah Jameson, and we then cut to the cutest little guy you ever saw, which was little baby John, and then we hear a blam. Tragedy struck when his first wife was killed by a masked gunman.
After the chat.
Press F for the in the chat. So, after Joan's death, Jonah poured himself into his work and climbed the ranks from just a lowly reporter to the editor-in-chief chair at the Daily Bugle. So, but he raised him right, and John became a fine man of his own, a celebrated astronaut tasked with vital experimental mission, going back all the way to Amazing Spider-Man #1. And then Peter's like, and this is where the part gets awkward. So we get a cavalcade of headlines from the Daily Bugle. We get this, menacing-looking Spider-Man overlaid, and then we have Spider-Man's face in Galactus, Spider-Man's face in Doctor Doom, Spider-Man's face in the Green Goblin.
I mean, kind of looks like the Hobgoblin.
which I like them, by the way. They look. I like that. They look cool.
Yeah.
It did look cool. So we then, he gets accepted by, frauds and the interloper, and then Jonah decided to take matters in his own hands. This is where we get the little aside of Matt Gargan and what happened with Matt Gargan, and then it was only the beginning of his efforts because we then got the Spider Slayer from Amazing 25. Then we had the Human Fly. Jonah's like trying to justify it. He's like, look, that wasn't even really me. Deacon forced poor Farley to give him fly powers at gunpoint. And then we cut to Marla Jameson made Spider Slayers. God. Anyway, sorry. That's like one of my. Listen. I will tell you, Marla Jameson making Spider Slayers became a meme.
Adam, you never looked better.
Oh.
Yeah, become a dog.
Yeah. Let me shift everybody around. Okay.
There we go. Now
We go. Everybody's in the right spot now.
I must
No,
admit
it's
to
not.
missing.
Kelly's supposed to be Adam.
I'm sorry, Neil.
Do what?
Can someone send me this about making Spider Slayers? Because I never saw it.
Okay, so amongst my friends like Josh and Don, and every time we talked about
Bye.
continuity porn,
God, the hair.
the first thing we would bring up was Marla Jameson making Spider Slayers, because that was something that Slott, every time she appeared, Slott had to make an aside. And do you remember that I made Spider Slayers? Nobody spoke that way. So that's why I kind of
I know people in real life who would talk that way, but I'm not going to name names.
Okay. So, Jonah was kind of, going through and reminiscing about his relationship with Marla. And then she was taken away, and that wasn't the only person he lost. He reunited with his biological father only to see him die. He lost one of his best friends and reporters directly related to spider violence, Foswell. So this should be your hint, because Foswell died well before these other two previous events. This is the only event that happens that's out of order. And so, he had made a vow, Jonah made a vow that Webb Minutes would die for what he did, but then something happened after years. Something terrible after years of fighting a good fight. He betrayed us all. Peter, Spider-Man, and Jonah, friends. So,
You.
yeah, and so they realize they're backed into a corner, and Peter's trying to fight his way through. Starts fighting the Scorpion, and like Jonah's like, I know what to do. Starts going, hey, idea. So he says he practically invented these things, which is a blatant lie because we all know it was Alistair Smythe. Or not Alistair, Spencer.
Spencer.
Yeah, Spencer Smythe. And so, needless to say, Jonah is like really excited that he's able to help and actually make a difference. And all of a sudden, we have this big giant foot come through the wall. The literal big man is back, now made into giant form, and that's the way the issue ends. So we then cut to issue number 814. That's right, 814. Still has the Lord. All right, I'm going to share the screen right quick, show everybody the cover. And I got to take the overlay off because that's the only way that's going to work. All right, so we then have still have the Stan Lee banner on it. Great image of what's happening in the issue. Another great cover by Ryan Otley. So
that's a good one.
It is a good cover. I think that's what I don't know if that's what they ended up using. I think they may have ended up using
it.
First issue. Is that what they ended up using on the trade?
For the trade,
they used
812.
they used the previous.
812.
15, right?
No, they used number 12's cover.
Yeah, 12. That's
okay.
what I thought. So, needless to say, we open up right where the last issue left off. Jonah, we have a brief recap of what's going on, interspersed with Peter trying to fight this big man. And
get it, big man.
Yeah, the big man, the literal big man.
He likes Spencer seems to like giant robots.
Yeah, exactly. The big man of crime.
And Otley too, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so there's
giant characters.
So, so needless to say, Foswell, or not Foswell, Big Man has Spider-Man in his grasp, and at this point, it's revealed that inside the giant mecha suit is, in fact, Frederick Foswell Jr., to be precise.
That was a twist.
Yeah, that was a twist. So, we get a brief recap of what happened with Frederick Foswell, and what happened even to the point of where his sister tried to become the big man at one point. It cost her life.
That's a very deep cut. That's like obscure.
Very obscure. Very, very obscure.
That's literally like, 2 issues.
Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was a Spectacular Spider-Man issue. This tells you that Otley.
It was Marvel Team Up, actually.
Was it?
Oh yeah, it
was Marvel Team Up.
Yeah, it was Team Up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
very early issues of Marvel Team Up.
Well, hey, really quick. So if that's the case, rereading Marvel Team Up now, location of Sand, like I'm reading all the issues. Do you know kind of why it's? I'm enjoying it because it's Conway and I love Conway, but I'm in like 30 something. When does she come in?
Comes up, you're getting there. It's 39 and 40.
I'm stoked because I remember he came back, or Big Man came back, and I know it was his daughter. So that was actually kind of older for me. I was like, whoa, okay. So I had no idea. So I'm stoked that it's going to be in Team Up. I thought it was in Spectacular. That's great. All right.
Yeah. So that, like I say, that kind of the very, very deep cut. So basically, Foswell actually gets the gun that killed his dad.
How?
And I'm like,
the plot demanded it.
Yeah.
Ready to literally fire it into Spider-Man when Jonah has this very clear epiphany and kind of talks about what happened into detail about what happened that night, where the bullet was meant for Jonah actually, and Foswell took that bullet and he died in his arms, and so basically tells Jonah that if anybody needs to be shot, it needs to be him. And so Foswell's like, I'm going to kill you both. And needless to say, Jonah then clicks the button in his back pocket, or tucked in the back waist of his pants, and starts to wrap up Foswell, but not before Foswell does let off a shot, which hits Jonah in the shoulder. Peter then uses his webbing to staunch the bleeding, and there's a self-destructive sequence that's initiated. So needless to say, Peter then throws this big giant mechabot, because he has literally had enough of this entire plot, and throws it up in the sky before it blows up. So
that was a power play. Like that's a feat right there.
Yeah.
So needless to say, Jonah's like, Peter kind of tells him, look, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It only matters what happens today. And, what you're going to do today and what you're going to do in the future. So Jonah then goes up. They're at the dinner, and what I love about the background characters is that everybody's annoyed as crap because they haven't been fed yet.
Yeah.
So it's been a long night. So Jonah's like, this won't take long, and all comes out with his arm in sling, and him and two of New York's greatest mayors, so he's like, you can I've got an idea where you can stick this, and basically kind of talks about how he was a megalomaniac who could barely care for his own family, and cost him everything. So
I also liked him acknowledging Slot Watson with Jonah being a mayor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't dislike. No, I don't dislike the concept. Truth be told, I think it's actually a pretty interesting idea of Jonah, because if they're not going to make a difference, I'll make the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
I like that.
I did feel like that part of the Brain Day run was in character for Jonah. So Jonah then shows up at the radio station, and we get these two doofuses. That's like, welcome back. We're asking the question, Dr. Noon under the mask, hot or not? Hey, I get that. So Jonah's like, who the hell? Yeah, it's really bad.
Sorry.
Like, who are the idiots? And so,
oh, hey, it's me.
I wasn't gonna say anything, Neil. So the station cut back his show. Instead of it being on at 9:00 when everybody's getting to work, it's on at 10. So 10, the show is to get to work with Jonah, who isn't at work by 10. Not broadcasting to a bunch of shiftless layabouts who don't know how to set an alarm clock. Or even worse, shift workers.
Okay, can I just say that particular panel has aged like a fine wine in the year 2020, where everyone is now, if they do still have a job, they are working at home instead of in the office, unless your bosses are evil.
Yeah.
So
exactly. So then we have the first first time we've seen Nora Winters in a few issos. So just like that,
it'll be the last time we see her for another 20, I think.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
see, now I'm tired. Neil, you took a nap. The dog took a nap. Now I want to take a nap.
God dang it, Neil! I'm mad at you now.
I wasn't the one who started it. The dog started it.
No, you cannot blame this on an animal. That's not
your eyes hurt. And you had to lay down.
Do you think the dog? I got the dog tired. Is that how this works now?
Maybe.
Oh,
Yes.
Your dog ass tired is what you now are. Anyway. So moving on. So we then cut to a brief scene where you have a conversation between the Scorpion and some unknown person just yet. But then, Neil's favorite comedy duo of Taskmaster and Black Ant show back up.
Best boys.
The best boys. Needless to say, the Taskmaster shoots him in the head with a dart, and he wakes up, in jail basically. And so, his old buddy, the Vulture's like, don't bother. If you do manage to get out, they just hunt you down again. So we then have the Tarantula, we have King Cobra, we have Stegron.
We don't. Okay.
All in the background on the final splash page. To be continued. Next issue.
King Cobra was a surprise one for me because, like, traditionally I don't think of King Cobra when I think of, like, the big animal themed Spider-Man villains.
He's in Roger Stern's run. He's in there.
No, yeah, I'm just saying, like, traditionally when I think of big animal themed Spider-Man villains, I don't think of King Cobra. But I guess Dr. Octopus was not really available at the moment. So
before we get to the next two issues, because I feel like we've kind of ended this arc, I wanted to kind of like go around the horn and kind of talk about what we have, what we thought about.
Cool.
So, lifetime achievement, 3-part story. Let's start with not Neil because he decided to take a nap on the job. We'll go with Adam first.
Oh no!
I feel like Zach's trying to spite me. Oh
no!
It's because you got to take a nap and I didn't.
Spideydude Civil War.
You want me to take over for a bit while you're taking a nap, Zach?
No, I'm good, buddy. All right, Adam, give us your thoughts.
What are my thoughts on this? I thought Jonah's contradictory nature in this was amusing. He's going back and forth between, like, Kingpin's a menace, Kingpin's terrible. Oh, but I'm getting an award, so Kingpin's the greatest. Spider-Man's my friend, but he's like, he's ruining Peter's, like, fights, his fighting and all that. The Enforcers. I thought it was good that they gave us his backstory in this, because just the other day I was looking at this panel from Spectacular that, like, it's like his origin story of how he got to the Daily Bugle in one thing, drawn by Ron Frenz, actually, written by Bill Mantlo, and, like, he was like, oh, I was a copy boy in the Depression, and I was like, oh, well, that's out the window. That's out the window now.
That's
so I wonder how they're and they changed it up. Spencer changed it up. I don't know if someone else did it before, but it was like, oh yeah, I was a copy boy in the Depression, and then I did a story on a soup kitchen riot that got me to the the journalism desk, and then I worked my way up to editor-in-chief, and then I saved every penny I had and bought the Daily Bugle. So there's some differences here to that, but I think it's good that there's, like, okay, we have, like, a concise origin for him for the current times. I appreciate seeing, like, his Joan getting shot, because that's, like, I want to say that the animated series might have done that first, because I don't think that was I'm not, okay, to be fair, I'm not an expert on
None of us can be Adam all the time.
Right. Well,
not all of us can make deep cuts.
I'm barely an expert, but it's just things that I'm noticing. I like seeing Scorpion again, or I like to call him Original Venom, because to me,
Original Venom.
I
don't know if you want to just. I don't know.
I want to
like,
put you in a room with Symbio Bro and watch you guys fight it out. That would be
great.
great.
What I mean is that, like, he was the concept of Venom, the dark mirror of Spider-Man, I think, before Venom was, if that makes sense.
No.
Was he really, though? Really?
Well, I think he was supposed to be. I mean, you read that original Lee Ditko.
Jonah creates him to, like, have him be a match for Spidey to take him out.
Yeah, he wants a physical,
and he's stronger. He's supposed to be stronger and all that.
He's supposed, because I mean, physically speaking, that was like one of the first times that Peter had ever interacted with somebody that was physically more stronger than him. So
later on, he goes crazy and he thinks he can't get out of his suit, which he can, but
yeah.
It's subtle stuff. I mean, I guess it's kind of a stretch, but it's like, I feel like it was like, it's like the prototype.
I can see that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely see the prototype. So continue.
So I like seeing Scorpion. I think Scorpion's pretty cool. This was 12, I think, was the issue that Otley tweeted saying, like, it's great when, you get the script and it just says fight scene, do whatever. So, like, and so you just see you just see Ollie going all out with that
Yeah.
Scorpion fight.
Yeah.
And this was actually pretty brutal too. Spidey gets beat up. He gets like smashed in this. That's noteworthy, I think. And I like Jonah's.
Okay, so I will say this, just because I went and looked it up. In the Mayhem is the Werewolf story from ASM 190, that was the first time we'd seen Joan appear.
Mm.
And that's also where we see her death.
Okay.
So
that was
Yes,
Wolfman
ma'am.
then.
yeah, that was apparently one of her. She's only had, according to Marvel Database, she's had 2 total appearances by Joan Jameson. She appeared before this in Tangled Web number 20, which was the behind the mustache issue.
Oh yeah.
And then ASM 190.
So Semper probably pulled from that because I think I think they pulled from that like that like mid to late 70s era a lot with like characterization and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's where she was apparently also mentioned briefly in Spider-Man Deadpool number 7 and Clone Conspiracy number 3. So those were, but yeah, those are
want to
only
think about.
like I gave a lot of props for Greg Weisman to bring her in. She actually appeared also in Spectacular Spider-Man in the Gangland episode where she takes him to take Joe to the opera. Jonah's like trying everything he can to get out, and he's like, "There's a news story," and then like there ends up being
news.
Yeah,
there ends up being a big giant fight scene, and he literally goes, "Oh, this is actually completely unintentional, but yeah, there was a news story."
By the way, I just watched it Gangland for the first time a couple weeks ago because I watched Spectacular Spider, and it, by the way, was amazing. I loved it, and that was a great episode. So
it really is one of the best episodes of the series.
For sure.
For more, you can always check out a show called Spectacular Radio. And the Spec Radio logo. So never mind. I was gonna. Never. Man, I was like going to be trying to be really, really sneaky, and that really. But yeah, you can go to Spectacular Radio on the Spideydude Radio Network. So, all right, go back to all right. So Kelly,
Yes.
or Adam, what's your grade? I'm sorry for your
grade. Oh, one last thing I did like Peter's kind of like pep talk with Jonah, like, oh look, the past is the past.
Yeah.
You know, it's time to work toward the future. That's all we can really do. I like that. Grade. I think I'd maybe give this a B plus.
Okay.
Overall.
B plus. All right. So Kelly,
Yes.
what is your thoughts on this particular issue?
I mean, I enjoy any good J. Jonah Jameson story. He's one of my favorite characters. So I enjoyed this as an overall like arcing point of trying to give him some kind of definitive origin for this era. And it was done in a cutesy way. Like the thing is, and when I say cutesy, it was done in a way where it really shows you how much research and time and effort Nick Spencer has put in to learning the mythos and the lore of Spider-Man and to really try and do things justice. And this is something that like, it's a continuing theme where he picks certain things that maybe a newer reader wouldn't know. And he doesn't beat you over the head with it. Like, oh, you should know this. It's a gentle way of reminding you of, hey, this is some history that happened, and we're gonna touch base on this going forward. So, you know, you need to know this, and I enjoy that kind of writing style, especially with something like this. Like one of my biggest things is respecting the people that came before you and the stories that were written before you. When it comes to long running comics like Spider-Man. And, you know, I said this on the last episode and I'll say it on this episode. when this came out, we were still kind of reeling with someone who didn't respect the past, because they would much rather have had their name attached to everything instead of going, hey, here's the story, here's the character, we're going to let the characters push the story. So it's good. I enjoyed it. It's, at the end of the day, this story is also kind of low stakes still, even though, you know, guns are involved. It's still kind of a low stakes story, so it's a lot of fun, I think. Yeah.
No,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I appreciated the deep cuts. Neil.
Yeah. So do you want a grade from Kelly?
Oh yeah.
Kelly,
I would say A-.
Oh, yeah.
Because I enjoy I like I said, I enjoy stories like this, and I enjoy the way it was told. So A-.
A- for you. All right, Neil. What's your grade and what are your thoughts?
So I appreciated even within the book, like they're all like, you know, every issue is someone's first, but Spencer takes the time to kind of walk you through like the nitty gritty of Jonah's life.
Right.
And give you like a pretty detailed and thorough analysis of Jonah and how he's changed since he first appeared, as well as like, you know,
it's educating the reader,
yeah,
right?
It's great for old fans who want to see like a return to like, you know, Jonah's old, or not Jonah's old characterization, but like him knowing his history and kind of being reassured that Spencer has a grasp on what he's doing. But also it's great for new readers who may not know the whole Big Man saga, because we have to remember that, like, every issue is someone's first. Yeah. But I think it was good to make this a fairly low stakes one and more of a character study of Jonah rather than like, you know, the Marvel Universe is falling apart again. It's Tuesday. And focusing more on Jonah and Peter. They could have easily made this like a 5-character arc, but they didn't, and I'm glad they kept it to just the two of them because it focused on their relationship specifically. And we'll get more into that next arc, but like this was how you do character development arcs.
There you go.
Also, Otley's art was good and it had a lot of really good visual gags.
What's your
that's a plus.
What's your grade?
I'll give it a B+ A-. I know that's kind of sitting on the fence, but we'll go A-.
Okay. So I sorry, I'm trying to look something up real quick because I wanted to so for me, let me get back on me right quick. So for me, I have a very personal attachment to Jonah. I love Jonah. I love stories with Jonah. And so as a result, I have a very big soft spot. But there is like one thing that I also have a bit of a claim to fame when it comes to Jonah. And I've been waiting to talk about this because of the fact that, frankly, this was kind of one of the most appropriate ones. So, share my screen right quick. So, this issue of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is kind of my fault. And it's because of a question I asked on a podcast. I was hosting a podcast, co-hosting a podcast, excuse me. And I asked the question, is there going to be a confrontation between Jonah and Peter post-Civil War? Because this is during the post-Civil War era. Peter's unmasked to the world. And so the assumption was that this was going to be covered in Amazing Spider-Man. But the question kind of gnawed at Peter David's brain and was like, well, is there any plans to do anything with Jonah? And they're like, what are you talking about? And he goes, you know, the lawsuit that Jonah filed against Peter. You know, is Joe going to do anything? Joe, aka J. Michael Straczynski, was doing, you know, had kind of put that forth during the Civil War arc, and they're going like, well, there's no plan. Joe has no plans for it. And he goes, okay, well, can I write it? So ultimately, because I asked the question, it got Peter David to start thinking about it, and then it turned into a story. So I have a very big soft spot for the life and times of J. Jonah Jameson as a result. So like I say, I love Jonah, and I love the dynamic that Zdarsky brought. We kind of talked about this a little bit. Zdarsky's run in Spectacular Spider-Man was very hot, very cold, very one of those that I just kind of I always, it was one of those things where I read it and I enjoyed parts of it, but then it was like other parts I was like, God, this really is not my favorite. And so when Spectacular Spider-Man got published again, I really was like I was like, all right, we're getting a true blue recreation. And so it was one of those things where when my conversation with Jonah issue came out, which to briefly show you via visual aid on YouTube is issue 6 of Peter Parker's The Spectacular Spider-Man. This is the second volume of that
Phenomenal
series.
issue.
Really great issue. We talked about this on and off the last couple episodes, but this is for Jonah. This is an issue that almost is required reading before you read the. I would say there's certain issues that are required reading, and this being one of them. Absolutely a required reading for anybody that enjoys the characterization of why Jonah and Peter are the way they are. And so in this, I loved seeing the pep talk. I love seeing that Jonah has to have these small epiphanies, because Jonah is so ingrained and set in his ways.
Yeah.
And he's so, like the little bit where he's like, force of habit. He is so ready to just, go back and being classic Jonah. But that's the thing, because I do want to see eventually a scene with Robbie and Peter. Or not Robbie and Peter, Robbie and Jonah together, because that dynamic, they really, I'm not saying they're symbiotic, but that their relationship really is that way. And some of the problems that Robbie's having as a publisher is a direct result of Jonah. And so now, Robbie doesn't understand, mainly because Peter hasn't told him he's Spider-Man yet. Now, I say yet because, quite frankly, I think that's being built.
I think after the Kindred stuff, that's going to be one of the plot points that gets addressed immediately afterwards.
Yeah, I think once we're at the time of this being published, the Kindred arc is kind of reaching its I'm not saying it's a conclusion. It's reaching the crescendo. So for me, this issue I enjoy. I like Gargan as Scorpion. I hated him becoming Venom. I thought that was a very bad idea.
He was the weakest link in Thunderbolts and Dark Avengers.
He was the weakest link, frankly. That the Venomous arc of Marvel Knight's first year. That's my least favorite arc of that entire 12-issue run. Like, of Mark Millar's run, that was my least favorite aspect of it.
Are we talking about like the was it D'Angelo? And then
and then Gargan comes, and then Gargan gets the symbiote, and I didn't like that part. Like that part of that 12-issue, which is, I think, of the 2000s, is one of the most underrated 12-issue runs of. It was kind of like Spider-Man meets Hush, but that's probably my favorite Mark Millar story, truth be told. So, all that being said, Jonah's characterization is great. I love that there was an infamous wrestling segment that is one of the most revered wrestling segments of all time. And I know I'm bringing a wrestling reference, so sorry to everybody.
I'll tune out now. See ya.
All right, guys, we're all jumping out. Bye.
Bye, back.
It's like invite us back in a couple minutes.
There was a few.
Roll out.
I'm gonna get some pretzels.
All right. Nevertheless, we had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Mick Foley, and they did this segment called "This Is Your Life," where they kind of go through and show the different pieces of like Dwayne Johnson's life. And it's it's a ridiculous segment, but it's one of those that works on a fundamental level. And in this issue, using Frederick Foswell's son, it was like, oh, and having the deep cut of him understanding the things of the big man, where I kind of felt like, and Paul, don't take this as a shot, because I know you're a fan of the slot run. But
he's ready.
There was times during the last 15 years where we would reference little bits of continuity and not go deep. It was always like the skin deep parts of continuity. Whereas with Spencer, it feels like he's going below the surface into the subdermal. I mean, mentioning the big man's daughter story is a deep cut. And the way they do the deep cuts, I just really appreciate. And we're going to talk. I'll talk about this a little bit. There's another deep cut that comes up in the next issue that I'm like, oh yeah, because like, I'm sorry at this point, Aunt May is a Black Widow. Can we just say it? But if I was to give this grade, the artwork is.
She's Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's just it's a secret power of Spider-Man we just don't know about.
Yeah, you just don't marry her because you will die.
Or you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either yeah. Anyway, so
Peter, it was May. She shot me.
So I'm giving this a grade of an A. I really, really enjoyed this. I enjoyed this a lot. The Lifetime Achievement arc, I think, is one of my favorite. It's a Spider-Man arc inherently, but it's very much a Peter Parker, Jonah Jameson arc, and I really enjoyed that aspect. So artwork is fantastic. Ryan Ottley, enough said. He did a really, really exceptional job on the storytelling. Again, the way one of my favorite aspects of the PS4 Spidey game was the Jonah Jameson bits where he's basically playing, crazy talk radio, Alex Jones type.
He plays Rush Limbaugh to a T.
Yeah, like there's even like I'm not going to lie, there's even a little bit of dialogue that Jonah says after the first scene in the very beginning that I swear Spencer lifted almost directly from Limbaugh. Wouldn't and so like I even appreciate that subtlety of like, yeah, if Jonah as a talk radio host just works.
Yeah, he does.
It really just works. I think that's one of my favorite parts, and then we'll obviously get to that when we get to the podcast Jonah arc later on. But yeah, definitely I graded for an A, and then we get to the next issue, which
wait, hold on a second.
We need Paul's thoughts.
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah, let's skip over Paul.
Why are you forgetting Paul?
Well, he died.
What the hell, dude?
Paul,
he
you're
died.
Going to round us out. Give us your thoughts on this arc. I know you kind of gave some of these thoughts. You hate Arcade.
Yeah, I do. I have to give little comments here. I'll make it quick. I promise. I like this arc. I think you all have. I can pretty much everyone for the most part. What all pretty much liked it. I really appreciate the fact that like what you said, Zach, that Nick Spence bringing us he's giving us more deep cuts, but also educating, I think, the readers. And again, if I was a new reader of Man and getting into all this, it's really exciting to like read and learn the stuff. Having to go to Wikipedia. That's the thing I love about a good comic book writer. It's doing mainstream superhero books, is that they can give us these deep cuts. They can give us deep stories, and we don't have to know every single detail because you can explain it to us. And that as a read from when I was a kid in the early 90s to late 80s, that's what I depend on. Like the Tom DeFalco's trying to tell me, hey, every issues are like we've been saying all day. Issues is maybe someone's first, and you have to treat it like. And I don't mind like getting a wrap of things. It's how I retain information, right? So. And it's in this day and age of just going to like, Wikipedia, whatever, just Googling something. It's nice to learn it organically in a story like we're given. And it's a reminder. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about these different spider slayers or whatever. I remember them, but it's like, oh yeah, this all makes sense. And bring that together. And we'll say that about Dan Slott and about a lot of comic writer and maybe just brand franchise writers in general, which I've been really kind of just harping on a lot lately, just in general, is that the writers that just kind of totally, I think, with the mythology, the writers that I tend to love, I think that have the best like impact on a story, and this is maybe a no-brainer, but is the ones that add to the mythology and build off of it instead of trying to create their own all the time. And it's a balance. Right? It's always a balance. But I think after Slott, he did a lot of things that I think that are like, obviously he's created a lot of new stuff for Spider-Man, which I appreciated at the time. And it got long-winded there. Again, maybe we'll do a separate show about that. We'll debate, and you guys can all yell at you, whatever. But I will say that. But I will say that as someone that I do love people build off the mythology instead of trying to con and do all this other stuff. Nick Spencer does a phenomenal job giving us what we want, Spider-Man fans, also taking all these different things and pushing them forward, and not in a, hey, guess what? Remember this? Not nostalgia way. I look up Star Wars for a second. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the sequel trilogy. I like the sequel trilogy, but a lot of people can complain about it. They didn't like JJ, they didn't like Johnson. They have cancer, whatever. The thing is, and I even said Star Wars, and this pertains, I think, to everything with Spider-Man or whatever, is that you can't depend on just one thing. You can't depend on nostalgia and depend on converting expectations. You have to build off the mythology that's previously written and go with it and create it new and make it new and make it fresh. And that's what Nick Spencer has done. He's taking the J. Jameson thing where, yeah, he used to hate Spider-Man, and then Darsky went back after Jonah already knew, and then one more date everything, and he gave obviously this Jonah and Spider-Man knowing each other or knowing each other. The fact is, he's now built that and made it its own thing. It has actually made it a credible thing where there's still conflict between two characters. I love that, and that's what I think that is done such a phenomenal job of, and that's just a microcosm of, I think, the whole art, the whole everything he's done for Spider-Man's bar, is that he's taken these things and made their own, even though they're exactly what he came in with, and not one fixing, but he's just adding to the mythology. And I love the fact that we get there's a conflict between Spider and Jonah, that Jonah wants to help Spider-Man, and Spider-Man needs his help, and I love that. That's still even going on right now. And that there's still, like, Jonah's guilt is there, and he's using that to again give drama and good stories. So seeing all of that, and obviously the nation was as far as what Jonah's history and everything, and bringing back the big man. I think again I mentioned it earlier. Wink, wink, big man. He's a big giant robot. I thought that was kind of cute. Yeah, I think that was all great, and I think art was just spot on, and it really. I don't know about you guys, but it felt that it felt like he came into his own, I think, in these 3 issues. Like, it was like really, he felt, at least in my mind, it felt like he was drawing these characters finally, or at least Spider-Man, and it was really nice to kind of see everything, the way he's kind of did it. So yeah, I'll give it an A as well. I love these three issues.
I will say, before we move on, you made a comparison to like Star Wars. I remember Red Letter Media's review of Rogue One, where they like went through like the ATSTs and like it broke new ground, and that's what it kind of reminds me of. Like, Slott kind of reminds me of like the Rogue One of Spider-Man writers, and I know that you like Slott, so I'm not gonna like harp.
I love Rogue One, so we're good. Yeah,
but. His references were fairly like surface level. Like, hey, remember wheat cakes? oh, hey, Scorpion's back, but he's butt face now. And then like, oh, Alistair Smythe, hey, he's back now, I guess. But it felt like his references were fairly surface level, whereas Spencer's have a bit more depth to them. If you catch my drift.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's all I got. Let's move on.
All right. No, I wanted to give you the time, but
Thank you, comrade.
You're welcome. So we are now jumping forward to the next 2 issues. So I will hit the right button, share screen joiner. All right. So we have ASM Volume 514, aka Legacy number 815, and with that really good Ryan Otley cover with the Rhino. Too bad that Ryan Otley didn't do the interior of this issue.
Yeah.
Big oof.
All right, so we open up. This is called Family Matters Part 1. Nick Spencer is the writer. Chris Pachalo is the penciler and colorist. We have Alve, Wayne Foncher, John Livesey, and Tim Townsend are the inkers. We have 4 inkers.
We'll talk about this later.
Not a good sign.
That's I couldn't really tell necessarily.
Yeah, it wasn't that it they did a good job on at least trying to stay.
There's consistency.
Yeah.
There's consistency between them. It just
I'm such a child of the 90s that anytime I ever saw 4 inkers on a book, it was always a bad sign.
No, like what book was it recently that I read? Bendis' Legion of Superheroes. The newest issue had like 10 different artists on it.
Oh,
not even counting Ingrid, but like there was a different artist for every 2 pages, and I looked at that and I thought I threw up. I didn't, but I thought I did.
But Neil, but to be fair, there are a million characters in Legion of Superheroes, so maybe they needed 10 artists to draw all those characters.
Well, this isn't like Marvel Comics 1000 where like it's anthology.
Right.
It's like this is like supposed to be all one. And considering how Bendis likes to decompress the hell out of his writing, that's a worrying sign that like, oh, we don't even have the same artist for the same scene.
Yeah. Anyway, so we then cut to Bagalia. I don't know. Basically, Bagalia. Okay.
Bagalia.
So we have like this little penthouse, and we have this little man in a white and green suit.
I was gonna hate this issue.
Paul's favorite character.
Paul's favorite. Yep, it is. It's Arcade. Kraven the Hunter shows up. His chest hair precedes him. Needless to say, basically, Kraven comes in and says, "I want you to build something." We then cut to the fact that we all need a family. Kurt Connors needs a family so much that he decided to revive his family with clones, and when they were having clone degeneration, that he basically injected them full of lizard juice.
I remember we laughed. I remember when Clone Conspiracy Omega came out and we saw that. I don't think I was on the podcast, but like in a private chat, we all like burst out laughing at like how inept that.
Look, I think it said best in Nick's little note on one of the pages, calling it the creepy clone conspiracy, and I think that's all that needs to be said.
Yeah, so Nick Lowe's little note of the creepy clones. So basically, we're getting a brief recap of Clone Conspiracy. If you want to hear more about that, you can always go to Spideydude.com's Clone Saga Chronicles.
Shameless plug.
No shame. There's no shame.
There's no shame in my
No,
game.
there's always shame.
That's fair.
Zach just chooses to ignore it.
I absolutely choose to ignore it. So, getting a brief recap, we got MJ and Peter down in the sewers eating dinner with the lizard.
It's cute.
I liked it.
I like this.
It's cute.
No. Hey, listen, I have no problem. Hang on, let me finish the recap.
I'm ready for you. I'm not starting hate. I'm ready for it.
No, now
So,
Paul has to fight because you've destroyed all trust.
I know. It's okay. So anyway, we have Peter and Mary Jane in the sewers eating noodles. Billy is trying to,
sewer noodles.
Sewer noodles.
Oh,
Sorry.
It's like prison wine.
Trust me.
Toilet.
That stuff is potent because you can smell the alcohol. As a person that's been in prison, worked in prison, I can attest to that. Prison wine.
Zach without context compilation. Go.
Can't wait for that.
I used to be in prison. Work in prison.
I'm going to warn everybody. I make that joke in the penultimate episode, penultimate fan panel of Spectacular Radio.
We're gonna have a super cut of every single time you've said you've been to prison.
Yeah, I know. So
can we do a Cosmic Book News compilation?
There's a brief argument between Billy and Kurt because Billy can't transform back to being a human. So after we get a brief transformation of Kurt back into being human, we cut to Aunt May and Peter Parker talking about how much Aunt May meant to her, and then we We have Aunt May at dinner with her Brett, her attorney. Actually, it's not really her attorney; it's Jay's attorney. But because Jonah Jameson Sr. is dead, well,
F in the chat.
Press F for the chat. Basically, because he invested all of his assets for some reason into Parker Industries, which don't even get me started on this. As somebody that used to work in financial services, that's just a bad idea. Nevertheless, so we get to they're at dinner, and basically, like, Brett starts putting the moves on Aunt May, and Aunt May just like will have nothing.
She ain't having it.
She's not having it. She literally throws a drink in his face, and she walks out and sees that these two people see these two guys mugging this poor homeless man. She then grabs like looks like a memory stick out of her purse, and then like uses a hollow projector of a giant spider.
Looks like a Wendigo.
Looks like a Wendigo spider, but I think it's supposed to be a spider because you look at the fangs.
Yeah.
Oh, hairy.
So that has the subtlety of an ant.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Zach was not Zach. Spider-Man was Parker Industries' mascot. So
that is true. Yeah.
Okay, but still. Anyway, so May decides to take pity on the poor homeless man and takes them inside for soup. The homeless man kind of gives a little bit of a brief recap of actually who he was without telling us his name. So we then get somebody yelling, I always wanted a table in this place. But right before that, we get the Rhino busting through because the Rhino can't subtly knock. He has to just horn his way into every situation.
I would kill for like if Spencer ever writes the Rhino again, like Peter's just sitting down on the couch and then hears a knock on the door and just the Rhino's just standing outside of his apartment like, hi.
Hello, my name is Rhino.
My name is Alexi. Please let me in.
My name is Alexi.
My name is Jeff.
God. Anyway, cut to Mary Jane. MJ and Peter are walking out, and then they're walking apparently by Times Square when they see a superimposed image on the over the NASDAQ, and it's actually Taskmaster and Black Ant.
The plot convenience jumbotron.
The plot convenience jumbotron. So after a near euphemism joke, I say a near because it actually wasn't one. We have Aunt May, telling them that they can go in the opposite direction. Then, like, Taskmaster's like, "Fine, I'm gonna, no,
it's kill you."
Like he's about to slay Dragon Lady, aka Aunt May. But before that,
Dragon Lady.
Well, he thinks she's a Dragon Lady. Okay, that's the joke. So after he's about to commit more mass murder, Peter Parker shows up and
he wins.
Yeah, he wins.
Basically,
He's shocked to see Aunt May there. Then the Rhino shows back up, and he's like, "Are you in cahoots with these mercenaries?" Which Rhino's voice is the same as Kraven's voice, so just roll with it.
They're brothers too. Chameleon, Rhino, and Kraven. They're all one big family.
We then get a brief. Aside before basically Peter's like, "Hey, big fella, I believe you. Team up."
There we go. Like the sound of that.
It's Spider-Man team up. The Rhino and Spider-Man. Things you would never thought you'd say 20 years ago.
Stock footage of Otley art being clunkily just jammed in there. Just point that out.
I did enjoy that aspect. Like T'Challa couldn't even be bothered to recreate the panel. He just super.
But hold on. Neil, you said in the last episode you kind of were like, I don't know if I like that. The one artist recreated the Peter and
no, I know, but here it's like way out of place considering how stylistically different they are.
Sure, that's fair.
So anyway, we get a brief montage fight between Taskmaster and Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Black Ant is trying really hard to punch the Rhino in the face, but it's just not working.
He takes out like a rocket launch. No, it's just
then he takes out a Liefeld level of a gun.
Yeah.
It blows up the entire restaurant with Aunt May inside. Peter's
no. I'll listen.
Boom.
I'm not believe it or not, as a contrarian that I have to be, I'm not someone who loves Pacheco, whatever it is. Pachala, whatever. I'm not a huge fan of art, but I like the way he did the whole as Black is punching the rhino in his face.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool, and the whole gun thing. I gotta give him credit. That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah, those last 2 pages are pretty dynamic. We then get a letters page featuring our good buddy Chi-Town Spidey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say.
And thus began the rivalry with Dark Mark for ages.
Yes.
Oh man.
So we have the letters page, which is a really good letters page. So you got to check that out.
Especially because I think they mentioned Stan Lee in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about Stan Lee, and obviously, they also talk about Chi-Town Spidey. You can actually see a picture of him in the issue as well, with his wonderful family. They're very, very adorable. He helped create that the logo that's at the top right hand corner of our video. He created that and helped redo our banner on our website as well. So
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, good friend of the site. So we then cut to a Deadpool. No,
We're in the next issue now.
We're
Real
the
quick.
next issue.
Before
So
we
Amazing
move on.
Spider-Man Family Matters Part 2 issue. I forgot to share this. Forgot to share the cover. So here's the cover. Really great cover, I have to say. That is an exceptional cover by
Paulo Rivera.
Paulo
That was
Rivera.
just like, I think that was like inventory art that he did for something.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, we haven't slapped the cover on yet, so we just need to do that. So
I mean, the shading on it's beautiful.
That cover,
yeah.
that
Really
cover
what makes it.
Yeah,
covers one of the highlights. Covers one of the highlights.
The covers are highlights of these particular issues. So there's the full screen. So let me just remove that. All right. So we then cut over to we're picking up with Deadpool. When I said Deadpool, it really was me saying Deadpool. Yep, Deadpool. It's it's Billy Connors. That's what he's using to hide his cell phone in his room that has things like She-Hulk covers and Captain Marvel.
Reuse stock art. I will say, if you take Dugan's Deadpool run post Secret Wars into account, this is actually a really good continuity note that Billy has a Deadpool doll because Deadpool basically sold himself out to fund the Avengers Unity Squad.
So, needless to say, we have a brief little montage with a preteen not wanting his dad to come into the room. So,
Okay, but I need to know, like,
Yes.
in this panel, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's who the heck rents out like a club for their child?
For its like a 16th birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, rich
but
people.
like, yeah,
I guess.
but
People
it's
who are like, how much you need?
so like, but it's a like when I think of club, I think of like
Like a
Yeah.
now,
Yeah,
however,
Like 6th Street. And Hobby can come here and tell me that 6th Street is a nightmare, so that's what I think of when I think of a club.
no, I will say this. Now, so when I say club, and even when I said club back when I was 16, 17 years old, I thought of the country club because that they would host banquets and stuff like that. But that's my brain
I don't
projecting.
like
But
that.
yes, I can absolutely see, renting out that doesn't make any sense.
like I think Lindsay Lohan. That's what I think.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
I
saw
think it's fair.
We've seen publicly how well that ended up.
Womp womp.
So
Oh boy.
his friend is basically texting Billy back and forth. Please come. So Peter is frantically, combing through the rubble looking for Aunt May, and so.
And I always looked at my watch when I'm reading that.
Oh yeah, so Peter's combing through the rumble and Black Ant's like, wow, guy must have really liked the food at that place.
Yeah.
Like Taskmaster's like
Takes
all
out
right.
a gun.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop him. A gun.
Yeah.
So Peter just like elbows him in the mouth,
Yeah.
and just throws him across the room like he's a rag doll. He's like, Not.
And like, there's a panel where Black Ant's watching Taskmaster's body ragdoll out of the restaurant.
He goes Pattinson Batman on him.
Oh man.
So basically, they got what they came for. Rhino's mad, so we're now setting up the heel turn with Rhino. So
Wrestling reference.
Yeah, he even says like it's gonna come back to haunt me. Whatever. On to find Ant-Man.
I already know. So that's another wrestling reference. Thank you, Paul.
Poor Rhino, man.
So
we have an enabler.
Dug through the Rumble when they see this little catacomb that's developed with a bunch of people, and May's like, Spider-Man.
Wow.
And May's like, I appreciate the offer, young man. I really do. But if we're going to start getting people clear of this mess, you're not going to start with me.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one panel was, talking about where Peter's like talking about never giving up. He learned that from his aunt. And so Peter's doing everything he can to just get everybody out. Then everything starts, kind of crumbling around him. He manages to save Aunt May, but not before trying to get the homeless man saved. And so Peter then realized who the homeless man is, and it's Ned. Ned Leeds.
Dun, 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 dun.
We get a brief recap with various artists such as Steve Ditko and I don't know who the wedding who drew
Andrew.
Ross Andrew, and then we had I don't remember who drew the image.
I think that was Kupperberg or something. It was one of those guys.
Yeah, I think it was Kupperberg, yeah.
Yeah, we have 3 different artists in this montage of stuff, and so
and then I think it looks like Bachalo copied a Jim Chung panel.
Yeah, so
like he
why didn't they use the Spider-Man Wolverine where Ned's like throat is slashed?
Yeah, I don't know either. So basically, Ned dies in his arms, but not before he says, "Betty, you have to protect her. You have to protect her."
Hang on,
No one
F in the chat.
Look, no one needs to protect Betty. We need to protect the people from Betty.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean this in a good way. I'm not downing her. I'm just saying, homegirl always comes out on top.
True.
Sure.
True. Okay, was it a misprint? Did I read that? Is it always been DT like Brant?
No, that was a typo in.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I will point out that is this the reason why Peter has been screening Betty's calls in at ASM 38? I think he's screening Betty's calls, and I'm thinking this is the reason why, because he doesn't want to tell her, hey, your ex-husband's dead
again.
Your ex-husband's dead again.
That you didn't know was back.
He came back to life and then he died again. So remember she went off hunting to find out what was going on with Ned.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just becoming, So needless to say, they Peter and May, they kind of go to a funeral home apparently and rebury Ned Leeds. We then cut back to the feast center where Randy Robinson was, trying to, do something where he can give a hand. And so May is like, we are going to rebuild the feast center. Needless to say,
we rebuild it because played in the video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Played the PS4 game at this point. So
yeah.
Synergy.
Bad.
So needless to say, like Billy's like, sneaking out of the house, going to this club, and we then have the Rhino. He's like, "You'll all pay for this." So needless to say, because Peter was so hyper focused on Aunt May, we then get a brief recap of what Arcade had been doing, with with planetary technology these days. So he's basically going to build around. He's not going to build anything around their kingdom. It's going to build around their kingdom, and it's a big giant image of Central Park.
I think this is just a photograph that they put a
they-
filter over.
Yeah.
So to be continued in the next episode of the Spideydude Experience, but not before we give our thoughts on these 2 issues. Kelly, it's been a while since you've talked. I'm going to let you.
I know. I was letting you guys talk. All right. So I enjoy this. I always love stories where Aunt May is not
Yes.
or helpless or unkind and cruel.
Yes.
So, I always to me, this is very much Aunt May at her prime. I enjoy the fact that we got a little bit of the Ned Leeds clone action, since that was a kind of loose end that we didn't really get. We didn't get any kind of resolution to. So that was nice, as much as it's kind of painful, but it's quick and short and sweet. And obviously, as I've stated, Betty Brant can take care of herself, and
With guns.
with guns, man. No,
Hey,
and
listen,
I'm not. And again, I am not saying it in a mean way,
Sure.
because I feel like we make a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
But no, it's
almost as if you need a show to talk about women.
I
about-
know. It's almost like I need.
Almost.
It's almost like I need a whole episode
Scratch his
about
chin.
the marvelous woman that Betty Brant is.
Begins carving into skin, make Marvel Women show.
Huh.
Oh, no.
Huh.
Huh, maybe
Huh.
Uh-oh.
might
That
be
got
something
dark.
in the future.
No, but for real, my thing is that was I think the one thing that just slightly bugged me about it, but I get it because it's trying to show Ned, the clone, has been trying to protect her, and there's stuff going on that we don't know, that it could be another story at another time. But it's just the fact of, again, I think my biggest glitch on it is just Betty Brant is that character that's always basically had to claw her way to the top
Mm-hmm.
to survive, and
Yeah,
I'm just sitting here why is anybody ever thinking she's feeble?
Yeah.
I guess because it's a typecasting thing.
I'll be honest. I'll be frank. It's because of the way Ditko drew her in the early days. She looked like she was seven minutes away from death.
Well, that's like every Ditko
Well,
character though. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's be fair here. Every woman Ditko drew looked
Old.
They look like Lauren Bacall to me, kind of.
and even then, I'll argue that most of the characters Ditko drew, I feel like if I touched them the wrong way, they would explode and turn into powder.
Oh.
yeah.
Dang.
Well, some
Dang.
of them.
One.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, it was the style. Things, they moved well, but
Yeah.
a lot of the close-ups
We're
were
not
never.
talking bad about Ditko. We're just talking about the way he drew Ant.
Yeah. Well,
And
I'm
other
talking about
characters.
Betty, but yeah,
Oh.
no. I mean, Aunt May. Yeah, Aunt May. I also too. Aunt May didn't look young in this. She looked.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Looked old.
Well, that's just shallow.
Yeah.
That is fair, but it's, again, she is Aunt May, which is also way stronger than Peter gives her credit for. So it's fun. I don't know. It was fun to see her actually have her brains about her and her heart, and I don't know. It's a good little side story before we head on into Craven. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Neil, what's your thoughts?
So
wait,
the right.
wait, hang on.
Oh.
You're great.
B+.
Oh, okay. B+.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
great.
Wow.
You're probably gonna have the highest grade out of all of us, I think.
Probably. Oh
Probably.
yeah, no, for sure. But I enjoyed it in the sense of it's a short, sweet
Yeah.
little setup that just kind of touches base with Aunt May and touches base kind of on family.
And it serves kind of as a launch pad for Friend Neighborhood's main plot
Exactly.
because the book had already launched by this point, I think. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you already had
footnote.
cancer at that point.
but the main, and they even have an editor's note saying hey, go check
Yeah.
out this issue. But this kicked off the main plot with Aunt May trying to get the Feast Center back up.
Yeah.
I think So, but Chaldow's art really brings this down from I could take off 2 whole letter grades for this if I really wanted to. It's hard to sit through.
Mhm.
It's hard to follow, and anatomies all over the place, and the panel composition is really hard to sit through. But it's made a little easier by the fact that it's a very short issue. Like Kelly said, it's meant mainly to catch up on Aunt May rather than tell any major plot developments. The only major real development is figuring out what Craven's doing,
Mhm.
and even then that's more relegated to issue 16, which we'll talk about next time. But one neat little thing I've been meaning to mention, and this is the first time I remembered to bring it up, is I like that Spencer's kind of like making references to Secret Empire every so often, kind of saying, "Yeah, I was kind of an idiot when I did that." Like he mentioned Boomerang doing resistance against Hydra. In this issue, he mentioned the planetary defense shield.
Mm-hmm.
I thought those were nice. I think these are nice little nods. And even though I didn't like Secret Empire, aside from a few key moments, I think that this is a good way to transition over.
Right.
But it's a very nice little character issue. But like some of the scenes were kind of cringe with Ant-Man. Was it Jay's lawyer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were cringe, but I liked how Aunt May carried herself through them.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
So it's most
she goes back in the restaurant and she makes the lawyer pay
Yeah.
for the deal.
Power move.
Again, that is peak Aunt May to me
Yeah.
of
Yep.
no, this guy
Aunt May
did,
energy, yeah.
this guy is an asshole. So I'm gonna do an extreme kindness at his expense.
Right.
So
Chat,
I don't know. I enjoyed that kind of Aunt May because it's the petty I aspire to be.
the Virgin Slot May versus the Chad Spencer Aunt May.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Let's move on.
Wow!
All right. So,
Also, I give it a B minus.
Oh, you give it a B minus. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. B minus. So that is his grade. All right. Adam, what is your grade?
I think I'll give it a B. It's fine. The art's like, for me, it's all over the place, I guess. I don't hate it, I don't love it. I guess I kind of respect it. Everyone's kind of, cute, like I said before. I had this joke in my notes, like stupid sexy Peter, because like there's that close up of his face in issue 14 where
Yeah.
he's just like he looks like a JoJo character.
Oh no.
Oh no!
JoJo's
Neil in the chat. Oh my god.
what a friend we have. Geez.
wow.
Like Kelly, I appreciate
Neil.
I appreciate Aunt May
yeah.
being a badass in this, because she isn't just the feeble old woman that Stan Lee and other writers would sometimes make her out to be during the 50+ year history. She's had real like moments where she's like, she stands up for what she believes in, and she gives Peter pep talks, and it's nice to see that even though she's looking older here, she's still taking charge, helping out in this chaotic situation. I really appreciate that. Yeah, again, the art is okay. I don't know. Rhino team up is kind of cool. Ned's dead again. Oh well. I do kind of like the intrigue with the Ned and Betty thing. It's like, what is that really all about? It seems important foreshadowing that maybe it'll tie into Kindred ? Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I should see where this goes. Like, what's going on with Betty?
Oh, snap.
I thought it was funny. Like I said, poor Billy, because he's not only is he like an awkward teenager, but he can't leave the house because of his lizard problem, and also poor Rhino because Spidey, they team up, which is cool, but then Spidey's like, oh, I can't focus on him now. I have to try to see if Aunt May is okay.
He lets Rhino get put in a Pokeball and gets rolled away.
And that was, I thought, amusing that they keep using that image of him throughout the issue, that same image.
Like they just walk away.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of like in
rolling.
it's like in Superior number 31 where like Norman just like walks away from the fight and then Peter's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop you.
Oh, yeah.
My spider sense. And
Right,
then
yeah, he
and
just,
then
like-
Norman just walks away.
Yeah, he like drops down a manhole and gets away. It was like
He doesn't even I don't even remember him going in the manhole. I think Miguel.
I think it shows that. I think it does show that, but I remember like scans at the time didn't show that page, I think. So people were like, he just disappears and gets away with it. What the hell?
He just like walks away.
Yeah.
Bye, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, it's a B for me.
Okay. B. All right, Paul. I'm not going to skip you this time.
I'm lost though. Thanks a lot.
No, Zach's last, I think.
I'm last. I'm saving.
Well, that doesn't count.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I'm
kidding.
saving the best for last.
That's
Oh,
there.
man.
You go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this a whole C.
Oh.
It's not great. Here's my issue. All right. So Mixer, I think he's a great comic book writer. I think these two issues felt like filler, and though the anime stuff was needed, don't get me wrong, because she was being neglected series for sure. At least in my opinion, she was in the first issues that we read he was writing, and it was nice to get kind of up to date with her and kind of giving ideas of what's going on with After Jay and with everything. That was nice. What I don't like is that there's like a whole issue of Spider-Man trying to like see if Andy's okay. It felt like Nick Spencer was in his wheels, like, oh, I gotta like figure something out for this issue. So I'll have like 3 pages dedicated just like for Peter trying to save Aunt May. And it just I don't know. It seemed very just like spinning wheels, filling up time. Yeah. I referenced earlier that I was looking at my watch. I'm like, what's going on here? So yeah. So for me, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. The art obviously is not my favorite, and there was some decent moments, but it definitely just the 2 issues was kind of just felt like a means to an end, if in my opinion, as far as like the Spider-Man stuff. Some things I did like. I did like the fact that when the Lizard family is talking, they're discussing the fact that Billy can't go out, which to me is a little weird, because if there's got to be a place for Superhuman to go in the Marvel universe at this point. I mean, we've got.
I think that they're setting that up.
Avengers Academy at one point, so and all these initiatives. I'm not sure where everything is, from a standpoint or whatever, right now, but. It seems like he should go somewhere, but I did like the fact that they reference that you can't go to the mutant school because you're not technically mutants. Like thank you. Someone gets it. Someone understands that mutants are not just traditional people that turn into superheroes. They're different. So yeah. I appreciate it, because I don't like it when people, or especially the movies, try to act like, well, Deadpool's a mutant. He found his power. We'll give him his powers later. It's like no, that's not a mutant. That's not how it works. But that's just me. It's just being a old school Marvel zombie. All right. So I like that for whatever reason. That's very my understanding. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's okay. And Ned Leeds, they totally forgot that he was around that Spider-Man annual where Betty I think saw him or something like that. Am I wrong? Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. So yeah,
sorry,
he appeared that annual. So
okay.
Oh, you muted yourself.
You're muted.
Yeah, my audio went out, so I sorry.
Oh, dude.
So anyway, but yeah, so he that was the rule.
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, so I forgot about that thread, and I think we all talk about how Nick Spencer really doing a great job of like tying up loose ends, like taking things and running things, and like which we'll find out later in Hunted. I think he addresses a couple things, and obviously in this whole series he's Pete Diploma as Dr. Octopus, whatever, right? So, so yeah, so I think that was nice to get that, but I feel it was kind of wasted. I'm like, oh, he just dies randomly. Like, there's got to be more to it. And you guys it made me not just be like whatever about it, when I reread it, I totally forgot it happened. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot he died in this again. So that just kind of made me go, okay, maybe you're right. So I'm a little more forgiving on that. Yeah, I think this is a means to an end to get us to Hunted, which I'm very looking forward to talking about, to be honest. So, yeah, see for me.
All right, so I'm gonna round it out. I'm gonna end this this part of the review. For me, I'm giving this a C plus. Okay.
Ooh.
Here's the problem I have with this issue. I'm going to share my screen because one of the things that I have a very big problem is this page of all the pages. Because not only do we get artwork in this page, but then we have all this wasted space.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And it's just like somebody, I could have put this together in Photoshop. Like, it's that not bueno. Like,
I mean, that's probably how that happened. But
I just have this. Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, this is a great page, and it's one of those things where the next page is a great page, the death scene.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just wholly inconsistent artwork, Batman.
Actually, can I say one quick thing? I like that, like, throughout this, each, like, scene kind of has, like, a color as, like, the background, and it's just one color. I thought that was interesting.
Okay, so that's another point. Like, the only detail in the coloring is in the actual figures, and then the background is it's very muted in the color. So he was also the colorist in this, not only the artist, but he was also the colorist in this issue.
Yeah.
And so I that's one of the things I have a problem with. It's that there's no, it's very, very bland, but also inconsistent artwork throughout. And I just feel like it's one of those things where I just don't like how this artwork is done. I've never been a Bachala fan. I've always said that it literally knocks it down a full letter grade for me. So, like, this would be an A+. To me, this is a B+ story. It knocks it down to a C+. It's passable. I'm glad that we're not getting Bachala as a regular artist. I am not looking forward to Nonstop Spider-Man at all. Not at all. That's going to be coming out later on in January of next year. So I just feel like that this is there was some really good scenes, some really good stuff, and then there's other scenes where it's just not good, and it's just the way that Bachalo's style is, and it's just not for me. So as a result, I give it a C+. I thought Ant-Man. Okay, so getting to the writing, getting away from the art for a minute. I thought the writing was very good. I thought I actually like. I've been on record saying how much I hate Aunt May. And
okay, look. I think we all fairly agree that, you know, she's a little past her expiration date.
Right.
But I enjoy when people actually understand her character.
No, look, this feels most like JMS Aunt May that I've seen, which is my favorite version of Aunt May is JMS's version, where she's proactive, where she's doing something that's going to benefit mankind. I liked the concept of what Slott brought to the table with the Feast Center. I like that in the game. I like concepts of Dan Slott, of Brand New Day. I don't like the execution. I still think that.
Well, it's because Slott can't write women, but that is another rant for me at another time.
Exactly. So I will say this. It's one of those things where I feel that the character is written well, like you guys said. So instead of it going down in letter grades to me, I felt like I say, there's some the Ned stuff I don't care about. I've never cared about Hobo. Clone Conspiracy stuff, I mean, it knocked me down from an A+ because honestly, half of a grade, because I hate Clone Conspiracy. I despise it. It's the worst story I've ever covered on Clone Saga Chronicles. Let me reiterate. It's the worst story I ever covered on a show called Clone Saga Chronicles, which is awful.
Damn. Zach going right into it.
Scarlet Spider Unlimited #1. Like I hate the Clone Conspiracy. It was so wrong. It was such a wrong story. The lizard thing was like the least offensive part of the story for me, but it's still. I'm glad that Spencer's like not ignoring it, because I was thinking, oh, he's just going to ignore the fact that the lizard, you know. Now, my question is that implant? Can't he just make one to where it makes the lizard part go away? Like that's kind of my question about this. I know it's going to be a plot point in the next arc, so obviously we'll talk about it more when we get there. But like I say, next issue, this felt like it didn't. I don't dislike 3-issue trades. Also, the other thing, we talked about this in the recap, but I'm gonna show this again. This just needs to be shared because it's just so bad. This is a manipulated photo of the park. This is not a hand-drawn image. It's just
I mean, I can't blame him for not wanting to draw that.
No. Like I like the fact that he did it and probably justified it in a way of basically going, "What? This is art." And
I don't understand. And there's
I thoroughly. I want to know like what happened when that was submitted. Like,
right.
I want to know if anyone questioned it, how it got okayed to print. I need to know that story.
Yeah, that part. Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's just one of the, I just feel like I had to point that out because it's like really, really kind of lazy.
I mean,
I just
lazy or genius.
So
what is art?
What is art? It's one of, like I say, one of those things where I enjoyed it for what it was, but it's one of those things where I'm like, man, it's bad. It's so bad. And so next episode we will be covering and starting the Hunted arc, as I'm trying to pull up.
It's me, insane Russian with crackly screen.
Yeah. It's me, Russian, that will try to eat your soul.
And then Neil's video feed is actually coming out.
I'm subverting your expectations.
All right. So, wait, that's the wrong one.
What are we doing? Are we doing Hunted? Are we doing Hunted?
I was just going to show the screen or the first issue. So,
guys, remember me as I was and not as a crackly screen man.
Yeah, that's the next episode. We're going to start with that issue.
Oh shit!
It happened.
Guys, I got hunted. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't listen to
I just want to say, Neil's video feed is going out. Paul's audio feed is very strange. If their powers were combined,
I know.
Captain Computer.
Yeah.
Let's let me do like a shitty like African accent. Let's our powers combine.
Oh, okay. Let's not say we did. Oh Lord. Anyway, so that's the next episode. It's going to be Hunted, Road to Hunted, and then the actual story. So stop sharing the screen for a minute. Final thing that we do on these episodes, I haven't done it in the last couple, but I was wanting to bring it back real quick. Anybody have any recommendations that they want to talk about besides Spider-Girl? Because I already know that's what Kelly's going to talk about.
I have one. Mike Hawthorne, the guy.
Kelly.
Mike Hawthorne, the guy who did Superior Spider-Man. He has I believe it's a biography / memoir of his life with his mother in New York. It's called Happiness Will Follow, and it's creator owned and it's made by Boom. So if you go check that out, make sure you buy it. It would be good because Mike Hawthorne's a genuinely great creator. I've had only a few interactions with him, but he's one of the nicest creators I've ever met before. And supporting him would be one of the best things you can really do in an industry where good people usually don't make it on their own merit.
Okay. Paul, you got any recommendations you want to give to the fans? Paul, can you hear me?
Paul?
My audio keeps me out, so I had to. It's a long story, but yeah.
Lord.
For me, I'm reading a lot of Suicide Squad, old Suicide Squad issues. John Ostrander and Luke Helen, is that his name? I'm so bad with names. So yeah, I've been rereading. I reread the first arc, which I had read, didn't really care for, and started rereading it again recently, and I love it. Great. And I've just been blazing through that and just been having a blast. I read Dwayne Cook's Batman Ego one shot yesterday for the first time, and that was.
I still got to read that.
That was there's a trade that has a bunch of different stuff in it. You know what? You don't need it. Like
I have it.
Well, if you have it, if you're like, well, because they have a trade out there, just find the one shot because it's literally just a one 60-page one shot he did back in 2000. It's phenomenal. Like I was blown away how good it was. So I know it's a bunch of DC stuff, but sorry.
There's no discrimination between DC and Marvel at the
exactly. So yeah. So I recommend if you liked Suicide Squad or if you heard good thing about it or whatever, read those original Suicide Squad comics. They're a little dated, but I gotta say I've been having a blast in them, and definitely read Batman Ego. I can't believe how that comic was. That was really good, and apparently it informs the new Batman movie that's coming out. So
there you go. Check it out. All right, so Adam, what's your
to jump off that? I will recommend that everyone watches the trailer for the Batman and just get on the hype train because. I can't wait for that thing.
Battinson is actually looking pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I had some reservations, but I was like, let me see a trailer first. And those reservations, because look, I mean, we live in a world that hated Michael Keaton, and I still think he's probably the best Batman of them all.
He is.
So, I second your recommendation.
I recommend that. And just get hyped.
Get hyped. All right, Kelly.
Always and forever. Marvel Unlimited is amazing, and it's $10 a month, or you can pay for a year like I do. And then I think it winds up being like $5 to $6 a month if you pay for the full year. So I think it's like 60 or 70, but it's got all of MC2 on there. And you should definitely go read it. I was actually, instead of just Spider-Girl, Avengers Next actually features Cole Panther, which is the
Tiger, I think.
No, I thought it was Cole Panther.
Yeah, it's Cole Panther. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Cole Panther.
Yeah. Which is the son of T'Challa and MC2. So not that, there's a major story there, but if you just want to see other iterations of Black Panther and your Avengers characters, definitely check out all of Avengers Next. There's 2 runs.
Yep.
So definitely check those out. I thoroughly enjoyed them. And, always make mine Mayday. As we're recording this, it's been 1 year since I put it all on together and actually debuted the costume. So
nice.
They gave me happy vibes when I saw that on your Facebook memories today. So that was nice. So it was really cool. I'm going to recommend a trade.
Ooh.
Hobgoblin Lives.
Okay.
This is a trade paperback that collects the 3-issue miniseries. Great artwork by our good friend of our network, Ron Friends. Roger Stern writing this book. We talked about Betty and Ned and Hobgoblin. He thought he was the Hobgoblin for a while. This is the story that tells you what really happened. Also has the really vastly underrated story called Goblins at the Gate, where it's Norman Osborn versus Roderick Kingsley. Now, I say Norman Osborn versus Roderick Kingsley, not necessarily Green Goblin versus Hobgoblin, but that story has some great John Romita Sr. artwork on the covers, and just a really great trade. It's 6 issues. The cover price is $19.99. You can probably find it for cheaper online. It is a great trade paperback. One of my favorites. I love when we talk about continuity. I'm about to give some very high praise to Nick Spencer. Nick Spencer is the closest thing we've gotten to Roger Stern in a very long time.
That is high praise, knowing you.
That is very esteemed praise. This is the closest we've gotten to Roger Stern in terms of the way he uses continuity and seamlessly weaves stories from it. So definitely check this out. Hobgoblin Lives. We will be talking about this story in a future show called Forgotten Era. The Goblins at the Gate story, and also Hobgoblin Lives. So that's kind of a tease for a long future episode.
I need to read Hobgoblin Lives for time, by the way.
Oh, it's a great story. So let me go through our social medias right quick. I'm going to share my screen once again and talk about where you can find us, of course, because we're going to wrap this episode up. Oh, I got the wrong window open. There's the window I don't want to share. Okay. All right. I got way too many windows. So you can always go to our website, Spideydude.com. And that's where you can see all of our live updates. We got new episodes of ASM Classics. We got we'll have some new episodes soon of Clone Saga Chronicles. We'll have some new episodes of Spectacular Radio and Mayday Mondays. Those are all the shows that are on our various networks. You can go to our Twitter feed, which is at Spideydude Radio. You can see, the times I've live streamed. We have our the new covers that I've done for Clone Saga Chronicles and updated all those. We also have our link up there where we're talking about giving back to trying to raise money for the website to help offset our costs. You can always go to our PayPal, and you can always donate there. We'll put the link in the description on the YouTube videos, and I'll put the link in the description of our audio versions of these podcasts. We got Mayday Mondays, of course.
Yeah. When is that dropping?
I can't give you an exact date just yet.
Come on.
But very, very soon. We got, obviously, Clone Saga Chronicles. Got our penultimate episode going to be coming up very soon. Going to be recorded very soon. Should be out by the time you see that, or should be getting close to being out by the time you see this. So that's that. We also have our Facebook page. Our Facebook page, Spideydude Radio Network, on Facebook. It is where we do a lot of stuff. Where there's our good friend Daniel Dory's literally sharing something from our page right now. Good shout out to Dan. So then we also have our Instagram page, Spideydude Network on Instagram. You can see our brand new, some of our brand new covers and stuff like that on there. As always, go to Spidey-Dude.com for more updates and check out our socials. So that is the episode. We are done with this particular episode, the episode called Lifetime Achievement. And next time we will cover Graven the Hunter. So
Part 1, I'm assuming.
Part 1, yes. We're going to split the Hunted story arc. Let me say this before, like, I announce this. Hunted as a story is almost 12 issues. Trying to do 12 issues with this big of a cast or or any cast really is just very difficult. So we know that, and going into that, we wanted to make sure that everybody knows that we are cutting that in half. We're going to slice it down the middle.
Yeah.
Part 1, and I will announce that on a later, as we publish this episode. I'll basically tell you how we're going to break that up. So I don't want to misspeak, at least at this moment. But if you're listening to us on the audio version, be sure to check us out on YouTube as well. Our YouTube page is up and running and online. So be sure to watch us on YouTube. You can watch our zany antics as we talk about dogs. And think along those lines, and you can see I don't know if you want to see my lovely face, but you certainly can. Everybody else's faces are much more lovelier than mine, but nevertheless,
damn right.
And oh man.
Right.
Needless to say, I am so excited about this episode. Thank you guys for being a part of it. Thank you guys for listening to the latest episode of the Spideydude Experience. We'll see you next time when we cover Hunted.
Bye.